Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Jefferson Highway Show. This historic highway was formed in 1915 by the Jefferson Highway Association. It runs from Winnipeg, Canada, all the way to New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's go! Everybody, today on the Big Blend Radio Jefferson Highway Association podcast, we are going to talk about the conference that is coming up. This is an annual conference, and Nancy and I from Big Blend here, Big Blend Radio, and also we're going to be publishing the annual guide for the Jefferson Highway Travel Guide. We're going to be doing that. We get to go this year. So that's my big announcement because I'm so excited because we haven't been to a conference. And our friends Arlene Gold, who got us all like addicted. She's our Jefferson Highway pusher woman, got us all addicted to the Jefferson Highway. And then we met Roger and it got even worse. I just say now we're finally getting there because she keeps going. Roger's, of course, Roger Bell, the president, who's on the show every month. So Roger, can I say that we're addicted to the Jefferson Highway? Is that okay? I'm not drugs, just like, it's a rabbit hole that everybody wants to go down.
We've told you for many episodes that, it's easy to get into this really quickly. When I talk to people tell me they never heard of the Jefferson Highway. Sometimes I say, it doesn't matter if you heard of it or not. If you start researching it and you'll soon gain appreciation from it real quickly. And by the way, Arlene is coming to the conference, I believe. So.
Oh, well. Gee. Okay, so we have Billy Sumner here from McAlester, and this is where the conference is happening. McAlester, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has its own state chapter now. ADELINE is here too. She's been on the show. I mean, she helped the convoy, so we know the conference is going to rock, right? So it's going to be happening McAlester, Oklahoma, and that is June 4th through 7th, but there's a Sociability Caravan run that is happening before that. So you want to check that out too. But, Billy, I don't know. Can you handle like all of us, Nancy and I and Arlene in McAlester? Like, that's bad. Like, telling you, we're going to party. I'm just kidding, but I'm kidding.
Extremely looking forward to having all of you guys together in one area. I was able and very fortunate to go last year to the conference in Louisiana and get to, meet Arlene and talk with her as well too. And so now I'm really excited to have both you and Nancy coming onto the conference as well too. And after being on the show a couple of times, which again, thank you for having me this evening on here. And we're just excited to finally meet you guys and let you see our area and host everyone coming down here to McAlester. So I think we're in for a really great time and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, and it's always been a joy having you on the show. And everyone, go to travelmcalester.com. And I'm going to spell that at McAlester because there's a bunch of ways you can say McAlester and spell it out. But yeah, what the name McAlester, that's actually a whole interesting thing now. Cause I always thought Alistair was like a Scottish name. Do you have Scottish roots in your town? Like I'm going to have to go down like a town genealogy highway thing. I think, Roger, that's a whole other pocket. You can
That's what I was going to say. ADELINE can really help you with that. She's definitely a historian.
She's a Wonder Woman. ADELINE WHISENHUNT, everyone. Oklahoma chapter here. And who helped convoys put together. I mean, she's done so much. So go for it. Go, girl.
Yeah. So again, thank you for having me on.
Good to have you.
I'm not only the Southern District Director for the Oklahoma chapter of the Jefferson Highway Association, representing Pittsburgh County, Atoka County, and Bryan County, but I'm also the secretary on the board of the Pittsburgh County Genealogical and Historical Society.
Oh, girl, I'm hanging out with you. When
that's actually like how I got into the Jefferson Highway, was a mysterious trunk full of photos. And it just kind of spiraled from there. It led to a city council presentation that I gave, which led to ultimately
rabbit hole, Lisa, rabbit hole.
I like her.
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to you on the bus.
If I'm not up front on a microphone, but with how I've been planning it, so and shout out to my bus tour that mine, Billy's, all of ours, but the bus tour that we'll be doing on the conference on Thursday is going through my district, all 3 counties and back. because McAllister's at the north end of my district, and we'll be going to the southern end of my district. And so hopefully I will be able to sit next to you, Lisa, because this past week we got confirmed we will be having theater students from Southeastern Oklahoma State University. They will be deep in the throes of the Oklahoma Shakespearean Festival, but they will be taking a day off. We'll have one on each bus giving the talk on the microphone to everybody.
That is awesome. That is unique. So, okay. So McAlester, what's the name?
Yes. The original township was founded by J.J. McAlester. He does have Irish-Scottish roots. A lot of the times, so
I get some points here.
Yes.
Towards the dinner theater thing. I want
historically, anything MC goes all the way back to Scotland, but a lot of the times you had that travel through. They would oftentimes you'd have some generations spend a bit of time before they skipped on over to America in Ireland. So you do have some overlap in the genealogy there. And I haven't fully delved back into his, but what's fascinating is he married a Choctaw wife. So she had the original allotment. And so his presence, and what's interesting is a lot of the leading businessmen of the area were white men who married into the Choctaw Nation, acquiring land and thus the mineral rights. So we're a major coal mining community, and that's why you have Little Italy right across Highway 69 from us. And so you had all these international groups. There's multiple European nations represented in the on the Miners Memorial here in McAlester, and it's because these businessmen came in and started building these communities, utilizing the mineral rights that they were acquiring through marriage. And so you have a very ethnically diverse and fascinating history in an area such as this.
You got lots of gossip, girl. That's what I'm thinking. Lots of gossip is happening. Well, that's what history is.
What's fun is, so J.J. McAlester is mentioned in the True Grit book. He had a mercantile that you can still see the building today, and behind it, his mansion is still standing. And there's little folklore legends about his wife getting up on the Witch's Peak or whatever at the very top of this Victorian house, and she'd have a rifle and she'd be looking out over as he would walk the half a block from his business, because he was such a lucrative businessman and was kind of becoming that era's version of a millionaire in the area, that he was often a target for mugging. And so she would guard him from the rooftop as he walked home.
And history has she was a very good shot. So.
And listen, everyone, this is Women's History Month. So Adeline just, brought some women's history into the podcast today. I love this. I mean, that's a whole different version of Get Off My Lawn.
Yeah.
And that is North McAlester, and then there was a South McAlester.
Yes.
Yeah, before statehood, both of South McAlester and North McAlester merged into one, and it's all because of the railroad. So the railroad caused two communities to form because of the east-west and north-south railroad that ran through the area.
And what's fascinating is it's maybe only a mile up the road from what's proper downtown in what was South McAlester, because that was it was more of the you had more of your proper downtown. That's where the Busby Hotel is, the Busby Theater. You had the train depot, because you have this intersection of both the, I believe the Pony Express, but I might be wrong on that.
Oh,
but
that's cool.
you've got the Texas Road, you've got a major east-west route. You also have a major north-south and a major east-west rail line intersecting in that downtown. Well, Northtown, as we call it now, but what was originally the community of McAlester, that built up, and it's now called Old Town because you still have J.J. McAllister's buildings up there that are 110 years old. And those built up around his home and his business, and the train line runs along one side of it.
And
so
the Jefferson Highway goes right down the center of it.
Yeah,
Yep.
So you have the Jefferson Highway coming into, from the north of the county, coming into that Old Town, going through and then heading down. And it used to go along it parallels the train tracks pretty much everywhere. But there was some of the research that I've done, there was a rerouting through South McAllister's downtown area in 1919 so that you could see more of downtown in the residential area. And what's fascinating is if you look at the Sanborn fire insurance maps for that era, you can see how there was at the time of this rerouting, where for about 6 or 7 blocks, it was shifted from that right along the main road that went right along beside the tracks, it shifted east 2 blocks to go through more of this downtown residential area. So did all of the automotive supportive businesses. So our automobile district, which you can still see a lot of the remnants of today, a lot of those buildings and structures and garages have been turned into new things, but you can still see their original frameworks and exteriors and stuff. Those are all along that new defined route from 1919.
Wow.
And I have yet to date which moved because of which, because they're very close. You had a newspaper article in April of 1919 in McAlester stating the reroute. It's been rerouted with a turn on Comanche and then a turn up here going along 2nd Street for these purposes, right? You had the new Ford dealership plant opening in that same spring with a major automobile show May 22nd, 1919 through like the 24th. So, like, it takes time to build a very large automobile plant. Wow. So which one moved first? Did he move because this is the stuff that I deep dive and I love. So, like, the J.D. Jones, who was that Ford dealership, was also the Pittsburgh County president of the Jefferson Highway Association. So did he move and plant his business there to be on what he already knew was going to be the Jefferson Highway still? Or did he push that move to be where he was going to have his business? And I have yet to define that, but it's one of my little nuggets that I like to
ADELINE's a detective.
She's rabbit holing.
Yes.
But that's what it is about history. And when you go on, like, the Jefferson Highway, it gives us this like whole, like, it gives us, it's a way to discover and then go down different rabbit holes. Every turn you take could lead you on a rabbit hole, which means you're actually having a really good time in life because you're learning new things and experiencing new things, which are all amazing. So that's the awesome thing. And I think the conference, what I love about what the conference, like, Nancy and I've been jealous each time that we haven't been able to go, just with our travel plans, it just didn't work out, but finally we're coming. It's just, you get to learn so much, travel with people, and you're around other rabbit holers. Does that make sense, Roger?
You're around that. You're around people that love roads and different highways, but they're bringing all their culture with them. The people that are coming from Winnipeg or California or Connecticut or wherever, they have different accents. They have, they have their own culture, but they're all meeting together in this one space to look at another community and their culture and their part in the history of the Jefferson Highway. So it's always interesting to see how these different people and, Adeline and Billy got to go last year to their first conference in Alexandria and see, it's going to be similar here. We're going to have new people that are going to be coming for the first time, and it's which we really highly encourage. And it's really exciting to see this diversity that comes and to discover a unique culture. This is one of the things we'll be right in the midst of, has already been mentioned, is right in the heart of the Choctaw Nation, and this is something that it's one of I think it's the third largest tribe in population in the country, and it's has a very unique culture. And I'm sure Billy and Adeline can fill us in, but we're going to be in the midst of that during the whole conference.
I want people to know too, the Sociability Caravan. This is, and I've had to learn the word sociability because I want to say like we're having a social, y'all, but it's sociability. And Nancy proofreads my stuff all the time, and she's like, Lisa, you need to learn how to spell this word. You got to get it right, girl. We're doing the travel guide. You got to get it right. I'm like,
it's the original term for a road trip.
I know that even spell checks had to be like, lambasted into learning it too. Like, but this is so exciting because this is a road trip, and it's a convoy, y'all. So it's a 2.5 day group caravan. You can go to jeffersonhighway.org, but it goes from Joplin, Missouri, which does have the Pony Express history. And Route 66 too, I think. I don't know, but Joplin history. Joplin is pretty cool, man. So it's a 2.5 day group caravan that goes from Joplin to McAlester. You go through Baxter Springs, Kansas, Lake Fort Gibson, Oklahoma. You're going to stay at the Sequoia Lodge, not to be confused with Sequoia National Park. But it's two different sequoias, and there's a story behind that. And if you get the story behind that, that means it's a whole other rabbit hole. But
I'm pretty sure it's named after the same sequoia, but
yeah, it is named after the same sequoia.
Yes, it is. It is. But there's
two different places, same namesake.
Well,
Sequoia is buried in Oklahoma. So.
You had to steal that, didn't you? You just went there. You stole that.
And he's Cherokee.
Don't get too many historians on here. We'll steal all your nuggets.
Listen. I do a show on Sequoia National Park every month. Are you kidding me? It's crazy. But anyway, yeah. So there's the actual, the caravan, and then there's the Jefferson Highway Conference, International Conference. And we need to use the word international because this is really, this is a North American highway that goes from Winnipeg for new listeners. I know we all start talking like everybody knows what we're talking about, but new listeners, the highway goes from Winnipeg, Canada to New Orleans, or you can say New Orleans to Winnipeg, whichever you want. It's America's first vacation route. So, we do have Canada as part of our highway. So it is an international conference, and it's an international highway, which makes it different than any other highway we have. And it's also one of the oldest highways I want to remind people about. I think that's an important thing, Roger. Don't you think that? I know like there's other highways, but it's one of the oldest, not like the oldest, but it's mature and it's having a revival.
Yeah, it was one of the first highways and probably the first highway to complete the route from, like you said, internationally from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. So, and we get back to the caravan. I mean, real quickly, this is an event that we started 3 years ago, based on some conversations I had with another gentleman who wanted to drive a classic vehicle. You can remember him, Bill Johnson. And he wanted to drive. And I said, well, why don't I go with you? And then all of a sudden I said, why don't we just go and do a caravan and try to see who would come? And, the first year was learning experience, but we drove all the way through Iowa and touched so many different communities, and it was so much fun. Everybody that was on the convoy caravan with us was just, they were just had a bear blast, and a lot of them have since. It's kind of their rite of passage now going to the conference. And last year's in Louisiana was great, and this year's the planning is going well. That's kind of my part of this right now. I'm doing a lot of the planning for the caravan, and things are going well. And when this episode is released, there should be a YouTube video out there that you'll have links to from our website that you can watch. For anybody that's interested in joining us on the caravan, really is not any cost other than just your own expenses. And we just would like you to register with us. We know you're coming. That helps us. But we'll be touching a lot of mom and pop places on the route, diners, museums. We'll see things that you probably would not have seen otherwise. I'm planning to give a special tour at the Younger's Bend at the home of Belle Star, which is a little bit off the route.
Oh, cool.
But it is a place that people have been going for 100 years to visit.
Wow.
And I'm looking forward to bringing the group there. One of the last things they'll do before they get toward McAlester on the last day. So
Awesome.
a lot of fun. Follow us, check us out, check the YouTube video out, and we'd love to have you. But of course, as soon as we get right into town on that Wednesday, we'll be right into the heart of the conference.
I want to go to Billy on this because, and everyone again, go to travelmcalester.com. McAlester seems so alive. I go on your website and it just seems like so much is happening. Music, family fun, food. It looks like you all like a lot of beer and wine, and we're
Billy
coming.
is very good at his job.
Okay, Billy. Like
I definitely try. Thank you, Adeline.
Yeah, but when you go on, it just seems like McAlester has got water, right? You got water, you got nature, history. Am I getting this right? I haven't been I think we've zoomed through, but not done what we need to do yet, and it's happening. So give everyone a little overview of what they can expect to experience in McAlester.
Sure. Well, just touching on a few things too that both Adeline and Roger talked about, with the Jefferson Highway, like you said, of it being one of the older transcontinental highway systems, it was established a decade before Route 66. So obviously everyone knows Route 66, their big anniversary coming up, but that's why I love how much that highway enthusiasts and historians and just people that love travel and tourism, they're looking for alternate routes and different things that they can go experience. So I really believe Oklahoma in general has a wonderful opportunity to promote a new north-south route instead of something the east-west with Route 66. So you have two wonderful traveling opportunities in Oklahoma. And as we mentioned, the Jefferson Highway runs right through the heart of McAlester. So I love that it runs through, as Adeline mentioned, our Old Town or North McAlester. It has our wonderful antiques stores and district that's there. So there's just so much of the original history in that area. Speaking of kind of the way things developed in there with the coal mining and the immigrants and Italian, and we also had the Butterfield Overland Trail that came through close to McAlester.
Yeah.
So that, was, one of the early mail routes running through, again, as Adeline mentioned, in True Grit. And we have now the new True Grit Trail that's developing, with McAlester as well. So all of this is combining with the Jefferson Highway and intersecting right in McAlester with this wonderful rebirth rebirth of history that's coming alive with everything in the community. And so it's a wonderful time to celebrate history in general. So we do have a lot of history. We've got a wonderful eclectic mix of older boutiques, again, with the antique stores down to new modeled restaurants and shops as well in our downtown area. Wonderful craft food and beverage. As you mentioned, we're alive with our festivals. There's actually, and I know we'll probably kind of break into a little bit about what's happening as, day by day with the conference, but there's 2 events actually going on the same weekend of the Jefferson Highway. So anyone who wants to stick around can actually see our Steampunk Stampede. It's our second annual of that. It's Oklahoma's only steampunk street festival, and that'll be happening June 7th and 8th.
That's like perfect. That's so perfect.
And they'll be right downtown on Choctaw Avenue, which touches right on the Jefferson Highway again. And then we also will be having a Comic-Con that'll be happening that Sunday. It's the first one coming in. It's Mac Attack. It's through an event company called PTX Events, and they'll be bringing a Comic-Con to McAlester. So 2 really different and outstanding events coming in right along with the conference. So we expect a very busy weekend. Being the first weekend of the month too, we always have our Old Town Flea Market, and we're working on events that are actually on that Saturday will also be set up in Old Town that will highlight the True Grit Trail and the Butterfield Trail, and that'll be going on at the Tubuxie Courthouse, which is one of the old original last standing Choctaw courthouses in the area. So it is going to be a weekend and a week packed full of wonderful events and stuff happening all around McAlester. So I couldn't be more excited to showcase the community and let the community see what, the Jefferson Highway enthusiasts get excited about as well, because I know we're going to make a big impact on the community as well.
I love this because I also know that, I want to see people go to Oklahoma. I was talking with a friend of ours, Terry Guthrie. She's a travel writer, and she goes between Dallas and Oklahoma City a lot. And we had this whole conversation about what's going on, like also with the Choctaw Nation and, your area. I kept telling her, like, well, you got to do the Jefferson Highway. We keep having this. Like every time I talk to her, I'm like, the Jefferson. She goes, Lisa, I know. Every time you talk to me, you're, letting her know. Excuse me. And, we talked about Oklahoma as a destination, and we both feel that the world needs to know more about Oklahoma as a destination. I just think the history of Oklahoma is so multi-layered, so diverse. And I don't know if people know that there was mining history as well. I think a lot of us have kind of if you don't live nearby, you know what I mean? In a
one
close
thing
proximity,
I think you'll discover the people that are there that have not been there before. This is not the flatlands of the plains around us.
It's different.
We got a lot of lakes. We're not, this is not
Beautiful.
dry. We have a lot of lakes, a lot of beautiful rolling hills, and not far away is some even higher areas. But it's a beautiful part, and our state deal lately has been with the hashtag Imagine OK, and because I think a lot of people don't really understand really what we are. They, especially people back east and stuff, and people that have come to this way on our conferences or travels before, they're always quite fall in love with the area.
Big blue skies. You have big skies and just that open horizon that, Nancy and I, as we travel across country and we hit Oklahoma, it's weird. States really do have borders. I don't know how to explain it, but if you do what we do is road trip so much. And I remember I think it was last year, we were driving, we've done this a bunch, but we were driving through Oklahoma at this time, and we were racing a hurricane again. And of course, that's what you do. You run to Oklahoma, but we're on our way to Arizona. And, anyway, and as soon as we hit Oklahoma, our whole body just relaxed. And it was because we saw the big open sky, and we love the East. We travel through the East a lot, but oh my gosh, it was like homecoming as soon as we got to Oklahoma, and it was so green and beautiful that time of year too. but we've been in different times of the year as well. And there is just such a down to earth reality. I love the term true grit. I know everybody knows that, from, Hollywood and stuff too. But true grit is it, but it's true grit with heart and soul. Because you can go in a restaurant and people are sweet and kind. And actually, when they say, like, how's your day going? They actually are not just saying it. They want to hear how your day is going. Like, they actually mean it.
We don't always appreciate that. I think you're surrounded by Oklahoma residents in this podcast, but we don't always recognize it. But the last time we hosted the Jefferson Highway Conference in Muskogee was in 2015 here in Muskogee, and that was some of the feedback I got immediately is how friendly everybody was. Somebody paid for another guy's some of the people's meal. He went to go pay the bill, and it said it was already paid by somebody. And they just couldn't believe that, that anybody would do that for them, and how friendly the y'alls and stuff were to them. And, we hope that is what our guests will experience. I'm sure in McAlester we'll have a lot of that, and people will really enjoy the community there.
I love this. So let's talk about the conference itself. Obviously, this is an amazing destination to go to. We're going to learn about this. Billy, this is your backyard, and let's talk about, people are going to go do the sociability run. I did say sociability.
You got it.
Yep.
I'm trying. Nancy's in the other room there with dogs. Otherwise she'd be on the podcast here, but she's like drumming it into my head. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening at the conference. And so, Billy, what is the first thing that we get? What's the first thing on the agenda? What happens when we get there? Like, we check in, right? Do we get to have a party or what? Like, what's going on?
We are definitely working on that.
All. That's the
What's
first
that?
thing. We want to meet you all. That's all I want to know, is I want to meet everyone.
That's right. Well,
happens?
I definitely know that me and my staff will be around for, and just part of our wonderful Oklahoma chapter will be around as well too, to greet everybody and help with the check-in process. And, one of the things that I'm very, very excited about too, with like the sociability run too, again, Oklahoma history-wise with the Jefferson Highway, when the association was first established, Oklahoma had one of the first chapters that was created in the association. And with the rebirth of the Jefferson Highway, we've been very fortunate that Oklahoma, once again, when the Nationals allowed the organization of state chapters, we were the first chapter to organize again. So we've had that history, and I love that we were able to repeat that and keep that strong in Oklahoma with the spirit that we have here. And as we already mentioned, McAlester, again, being so much ingrained in the Choctaw Nation, we're Southeast Oklahoma, so we're kind of a hub for this area. We mentioned, we're, around 8 to 10 miles from Lake Eufaula. We're about, again, 30 miles from Robbers Cave State Park. So there's a lot of wonderful things to do. I wish I could give everybody a lot more time to come experience things, but we're going to keep you kind of busy with the conference. So with the sociability run, as Roger brings everybody through, you're going to see the northern half of the Oklahoma portion of the highway. And then as we get into later on, when we take our bus tour, you'll get to see the southern half of the highway in Oklahoma. So we're going to touch everything in Oklahoma as part of the highway. And that really excites me, because I really hope that all of our communities can be able to take advantage of that.
That's amazing. And, because ADELINE, so you're the head of this, it's the southern chapter, right? It's the southern Oklahoma chapter.
No, it's not a chapter, because it's from northern point of the state all the way down to the south. We divvied up the route in Oklahoma 3 ways, with like a northern section, a central section, and a southern section. So our board on the chapter has a representative from each of those sections to kind of help coordinate events and stuff going on with the chapter and the international association as well. So I represent the 3 most southern counties that the route goes through. And
Okay,
we categorize them as districts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, district. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
then the thing that I've done the most with that thus far has been I coordinated, as we talked about the last time I was on the podcast, I coordinated a bunch of police escorts to make sure that the military convoy was stopping not only in McAlester, but also in Caddo and Durant.
well, when Nancy and I and Arlene all reunite, you may need to do the same thing. I don't know, Billy. I don't know how you're going to handle the hospitality on this, but we'll be.
I am friends with our chief of police. If I need to, I can give him a call.
Oh, I like that. I'm just messing with you all, but Oklahoma's got some good crime history. I'm just saying, but we're not going to be part of that.
We
do. The jail cell in the police department held a famous person one time.
And who was that famous person?
Billy, what was the guy's name?
We held one of the. Are you talking about from the Oklahoma City bombing?
Yeah.
I believe we had. It was Terry Nichols.
Oh, yeah, Terry Nichols. Okay. Oh, yeah. He was. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. That's some crazy stuff. Yeah, no, it is.
Period. We have something interesting.
Our bus tour is always like one of the most look forward to thing, I think, by a lot of our people. And we're going to have a really good one this year. Our buses are reserved, and I haven't even talked with ADELINE a lot about it, but I know she's already got things going there, and we're excited about the tour. And I know we got a good lunch stop we might want to talk about.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait, let's go to lunch. Go, Billy. Tell us about lunch. What's going on with lunch stop?
Well, I'll kind of go back to your original question too. So on Wednesday, when everybody arrives in, though, yes, we do have kind of a welcome reception set up, and ADELINE and I are still working on a few surprises to hopefully have a little bit of a coordinated meetup that evening for everybody. So we still would like to host a small, more gathered reception after everybody's checked into the hotel, which we have a wonderful host hotel. Hampton is our host hotel for the conference here in McAlester, and they're giving out a great rate. And so we're very happy to have them on board. And then, so Wednesday, after we get done checking everybody in, welcoming them, they head off to their hotel. Again, we hope to have something that we can all gather back up and be able to socialize a little bit, talk about what's going to happen with the first kind of real big event on Thursday, which will be our bus tour heading out Thursday morning at 8 o'clock, bright and early. And again, we're heading down towards southern Oklahoma into the Southern District and ADELINE's area. And we're going to be making some stops down in Durant, checking out some of their downtown area. One of our highlights is we are visiting the Choctaw Cultural Center. So that will be a wonderful experience. And again, that was kind of where a lot of our bus tour day we wanted to focus on, is really highlighting again the Choctaw Nation and our partnership with the tribe, and how well that they help our communities out, and showing them how much of an impact that the highway can have on them for tourism as well. So we're going to be hitting that. We're going to be seeing some of the communities along the way, such as Caddo and Stringtown, that have some wonderful murals and different stops for the highway. And then our wonderful lunch stop is going to be in Atoka, where we'll be visiting Reba's place and doing a little shopping in downtown Atoka as well too. So no promises on a visit from Reba, but if something happens, I definitely would not be opposed to that.
She might do another video message like she did for the convoy, the military convoy.
Yeah,
I would very much hope that, and I'm not going to rule that out as that could be a possibility or something that people could expect. But I won't do a promise of a meet and greet with Reba, but it will be a wonderful experience that they'll get to have.
She does have a wonderful gift shop in there.
She does.
So when we're there, we want to host a live podcast. And I think we'll figure this out, because I think we'll do it. We'll interview everything and everyone. Like we'll go up to walls and say, tell me the story from the past. No, but we'll do what we can on that. I want to do a special podcast while we're there, but I think Roger, last year you, helped with putting a music playlist together. You created one for Louisiana, and I'm feeling the need for an Oklahoma Jefferson
already
Highway.
in the works.
What do you think of country music?
Already in the works.
All
So,
like it all goes. Bring it. I
yeah,
mean,
I've
Oklahoma's
already
music,
started
man.
working on that. That's part of the caravan, but it will go in anybody want to
I suppose you're going to have to put like Carrie Underwood in. Is that so terrible?
Could be.
Reba McEntire.
I'm not going to
give
up
some
my
Blake Shelton.
I'm not going to give up my secrets, but yeah, probably so.
Well, and Lisa, if you're not familiar,
Woody Guthrie.
even here in McAlester, we had not only Johnny Cash play at the prison, but we also had the Beach Boys play in McAlester.
No.
So, and
you
then
had the
we
Beach Boys in Oklahoma?
Yes, they actually played here in McAlester as well. And then obviously we can hit you up with a lot of wonderful, more red dirt country for more modern music.
Yeah, red dirt is really going to be part of this for sure, because this is a unique element now. And then you got things in Miami,
back up.
Oklahoma.
Red dirt. You all know what red dirt is.
Red dirt music. Red dirt music.
Turnpike Troubadours. You should look them up. They
I
are
like the name Red Dirt.
Yeah,
you have red dirt. Okay. I'm like this
a lot
is
of it's a subgenre of country that is primarily rural Oklahoma originating artists. Right. One of my favorite artists that's out of Oklahoma, he's not necessarily red dirt. He is more of a folk art kind of musician. But my husband and I actually selected one of his songs, Always You, as our first dance, and his name is Parker Millsap. And he's a nice young artist from Oklahoma.
Okay, we're doing a red dirt special. Like, I just want to do.
Well, we've got a lot of diversity. I mean, country's there, but we talked about this before. We got a lot of blues musicians from my hometown. Has like nine world class blues musicians came out of Muskogee, Oklahoma, and then you've got Miami, Oklahoma. That's the home of Steve Gaines, of Leonard Skinner, guitarist.
Dang it.
We'll be going right. We'll be
don't. I mean, we'll just do a whole podcast on this. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. I've said before, we need to do a whole music history on the Jefferson Highway and call it Jammin' on the Jefferson. So
I love that name too, Jammin' on the Jefferson. Well, this is the thing. I mean, and road tripping is not road tripping if you do not play music. Please,
I agree with
people. Like, I really, I know we're such a phone centric community now, right? A society. And I say to be the community, put the phone down, yes, take photos and look things up, use GPS, that kind of thing. But turn the music up. And then obviously when you see cops, turn it down. So all those listening right now, ADELINE will help you. She knows. She knows the head dude. But honestly, it is about matching the music to where you're going. And if you can get the music of the area, that's even better, because it just kind of gets in you. It is it,
If you're staying in Tulsa, go visit Church Studios. Leon Russell had his own studio in Tulsa.
We've talked about this and the Dylan.
Yeah.
Oh, Dylan. And then, J.J. Cale's my hero, right? J.J. Cale. Like, to me, J.J. Cale and Ry Cooder are like, and then Roy Orbison. Like, those are the three almighties. And then there's more. And then I'll never stop talking. So I'll stop now, because it's like really, and then, we've got other Muskogee people that I know everyone has that one song on their brain, don't they?
Mm-hmm. We have a new statue for that. So
you do.
So Billy, what are we doing after the bus tour?
Yeah, I know. Let's get back. Look at ADELINE pulling out of the rabbit hole. She did good.
We know we can go down the rabbit hole with anything, music, Jefferson Highway, Americana. I mean, that's just who we are. So
we just need themed episodes,
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to converse on here. But
take it by state. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Go. Okay,
after we get back from the bus tour, we're going to keep it going. Thursday's going to be a busy day, because that's when we're going to let everybody rest up for just a second, and then we're going to have a wonderful murder mystery dinner that night. So we're going to head out to the McAlester Country Club, where we're going to be hosting a murder mystery dinner, and it's a group out of Tulsa that's coming down, and Roger's worked with them a little bit to create this wonderful 1920s theme that will set us back in the era. We're hoping everyone comes dressed up in attire, has a good time, put themselves in the element. We're going to imagine we're back in the wonderful Busby Hotel, and somebody's going to be murdered, and we're going to have to be detective and find out who it is, and that murder mystery along the highway. So it's going to be a wonderful dinner and some interesting conversation and a mystery that will unfold as we socialize around that evening.
Okay, so everyone keeps talking about Busby, so I have to bring this up. So I don't know what you're talking about, other than
Colonel William Busby was the one of the other of at least 3 or 4 leading coal barons in McAlester.
Oh, so
he built up an entire block of buildings. 2 of the original 3 still remain today. And one of them was a hotel, one of them was his payroll office, and one of them was an opera theater. Sadly, the opera theater was torn down due to asbestos issues in the 70s, but the hotel still stands. It had a fire in 1924 and was gutted and renovated into what is now our county courthouse, but the exterior is still very much the same to what it was originally. There is a historical marker out there that talks about all of that yours truly may have wrote. And next door to the courthouse is his original payroll office. That is what the Pittsburgh County Genealogical and Historical Society is housed in. And if anybody is ever interested to have a tour, let me know, because the interior is almost untouched. It has original wood paneling, almost as tall as me.
I want to go.
And you still have very much that bank feeling, because you'd go up to a window. There is a door up high in a wall because a rifleman would take a ladder, climb up to get up into the ceiling, pull the ladder up with him, close that door, so nobody could get up there with him unless they brought their own ladder. And then he would guard the lobby with his rifle. And there's a really cool safe that we keep all of our really cool artifacts in. But yeah, so William Colonel Busby, in turn of the century, around statehood, he was the one that was building up what was known as South McAlester. Him and then Mr. Pewterbaugh, and then Mr. McAlester, they were all kind of the leading coal barons at the time. They had their competing companies. And Mr. Busby was very much Mr. Monopoly, because if his employees were getting charged too much for their utilities or whatever, or if he was being charged too much for the various things that he would need to buy as a company for his stuff from other local companies, he would buy out that company and run it himself.
Oh, so he was So when are you writing a book, Adeline? I'm just saying, like, you should.
I have plans.
I know. I have plans.
I don't know how many old historic hotels have actually become the county courthouses, but I would say not too many. So it's kind of a unique element.
Sadly, it was truly gutted, and like pretty much the fire took out everything but the exterior walls. Mm-hmm. And then it's gone through a couple renovations itself over the years, so it does not feel like a hotel when you're in there.
But that night at the murder mystery, it's going to come back. See,
that's right.
Well, here's the thing. This is what I was going to say, Billy.
What about ghosts?
I have photos. We have photos or art painted postcards of the original lobby and the original ballroom in the Busby Hotel that we could blow up and have on display at the murder mystery.
We want
and they are beautiful. I mean, from a tourism and now history standpoint, especially with the highway, I wish that there were multiple things that in McAlester I wish was still standing, but definitely if that hotel was still there and operated as a historic hotel would be amazing.
Y'all would not be staying at the Hampton.
I have a feeling it would be haunted.
Oh, I'm sure. If not, we definitely would create a story of how it was. So
yeah. Oh, Adeline has got it.
There are rumors of people walking down the hallway in the historical society building in the payroll office when people are in there by themselves.
Yeah, they wanted their money. They're like, get out.
Yeah.
You took my money. Well, this is, I want to go to you, Billy, and we can finish off on what's going on with the conference, but You know, I look at how tourism has changed, and I wanted to ask you about this, about McAlester, being the host of this conference. Are you seeing a change in travelers wanting more history? Because we're seeing it from our side. So I was wondering if you see that heritage tourism kind of grow with people wanting to learn more, like, some of the things that Adeline's saying and Roger, these stories that people want to experience that. Have you seen that yet?
Very much so. And, I've done tourism for the city of McAlester now for 8 years. I'm very passionate about my job, love what I get to do, love the event holders and the people that come in, definitely the travelers. I greatly enjoy hosting people into the city and being able to go around showing them things or finding things that make them happy. And I have watched from when I started to where we are now, when history presentations are going on or there's something to do with history, more and more and more people just start coming to them. Even locals just getting out and getting more involved and wanting to learn more about the community in general and what has happened in McAlester throughout the years. And I mean, perfect example, actually, this Friday, I'm hosting a history class that's coming in from Oklahoma City that's coming down to learn about coal mining and prison history in McAlester. And so found them online that they were posting, asking people about McAlester and what there is to do. And so reached out to the teacher and was like, well, I'm the perfect person to help you with this. Let me assist. And so we set up an entire, itinerary for them, to try to make it a personalized experience. And I helped use my connections to get them brought into different things so that they could learn what they needed to and make those connections. And I hope it's, again, that personalized experience. I think that just showcases, the Southern hospitality and that enthusiasm that we have for and love for the history in our area.
And you said Southern hospitality, and that's something to also say. It's like you're in the West, but you're still in the South. You are actually in the epitome of the Southwest, which sometimes people don't realize too. And also going to history, are you seeing it being pretty much a wider scope of ages? Like it used to be history was, we're retired and now getting into history, when like I'm seeing all ages now. What are you seeing?
Adeline's not retired.
I was going to say Adeline is a perfect example of this. So
I am 30 years old and I am leading a group of volunteers in the Historical Society that are just, hey, we love history, or we have history degrees and we want to use them locally and we're here to help, and oh, hey, let's take over a museum and get it going again and all this kind of stuff. And aside from the president of the organization, who's in his 80s and is our mentor, we are under 40. And there's about
amazing
3 of us, if you're not including my husband, who I drag along anyway.
So, but this is why I'm bringing this up for a reason. Because when we look at history and historic events and history travel, we've changed. And it used to be so different 5 to 10 years ago. It's changed over the last 10 years significantly, which is so exciting.
I want to bring something on this too, because, a lot of times this is a quote historical conference.
Right.
But we don't do history. You're not going to be listening to,
you're not going to school.
Scholars are going to be talking down to you about something obscure. You're going to be right in the midst of history the whole time, and you're going to learn some things. You're going to learn some about the community, but you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to have friends. When you leave here, you're bound to be having to meet some friends that you never knew before from some part of the country, because it's going to happen. And
it happened to me.
And we try to bring history to life, and that's the best thing I've seen, even for younger generations, is get them out in the midst of history. Reading a book or that has its place, but really discovering it and things like Adeline does, digging into it, finding the next thing. That's what's fun.
I want to go to the jail. Like that tells you what it was like. You can read it in a book, but if you go sit in an old jail, you're going to get that little cold shiver that's going to tell you ooh, you want to leave that cold tail
Well,
now.
we are going to have some speakers, and I guarantee you that Lisa Smith and Nancy will not bore us with their talk. And we have a really good slate on Friday. We talked about Thursday, but as we get into Friday, this is typically our speaker day. So this morning we're going to have, we have a slate of speakers. Our first speaker is going to be Sarah DeCaro, the archivist from our Pittsburgh State University Archives of the Jefferson Highway. Wow. But we're going to really make that a fun event. We're going to bring some things. We're going to show you some things. So it's going to be, we're going to learn how we can help the archive, what the archive is, how we can move it, how can we preserve the past and the history of the highway. But we're going to show you some things and bring out the history of the highway. And then we have Lisa and Nancy. And what are they going to do?
We're going to do a dance. No, really. We're going to talk about the Jefferson Highway travel guide. And I think this is really exciting. I think Billy, the last time you were on the show, we had a chat after, right, about this.
Yeah,
and we're very, very excited about this because, the highway, when you think the highway is the history of tourism. People think about this with Route 66, and Route 66 is awesome, and they rocked it. And then when Interstate 40 came in, because, the military needed the highway, and all this stuff happened because of World War II. Anyway, so Route 66 kind of fell along the wayside, and because of the war effort, let's just put it that way. And I've had to get over it, but I was still upset because businesses hurt after that, right? And then I've watched the resurgence of the Route 66. In fact, Nancy and I covered it when Arizona started to bring it back. And now it's part of our National Park Service. It's amazing what they have done. But Jefferson Highway is the same thing. It's Americana. It is small town city as well, right? Thinking Winnipeg to New Orleans. The amazing cultures that happen, the diversity of people. You're talking about the Choctaw Nation, the indigenous history, all the people that have moved through the Midwest, through agriculture, all these different stories that get to be told. What a guide does is it brings everyone together in one place. So as a traveler, you're like, look at this, go, oh, I can go from here to here to here. And that is this awesome thing. And the highway was the idea and a brainchild of the editor of the Better Homes and Garden magazine. Like, come on, man. Like, for us, we're feeling a little like that's some big shoes to follow. But digital publications mean that it can go out internationally for our international guests to come here. They can plan beforehand. They have a website. They can actually go, hey, there's a restaurant, there's a museum, there's this, there's that. And we thought we were going to do one big guide a year. And as we started going, basically, there's a lot of rabbit holes. So it'll be more frequent so we can cover the seasons, the seasonal events, because everything changes. It may be snowing in Minnesota and you may want to go ice fishing in Minnesota in the winter, but in New Orleans, you may be partying it up in, the French Quarter. But so everything's a little different as you go down the highway. But one thing is the highway connects all these communities together, and that's the point. It is about unity. And I'm going to say this, our country may be a little bit like all this stuff going on. The world may have all this stuff going on. But in travel, there's unity. And when you have a route like this, there is unity. And this unity that can happen on this route is actually one giant community and an international one that does go from Canada down to New Orleans. I think it's incredible. And a guide is a way for people to see who's there, what, and where. But it is a way, I don't know, just stands up for everyone. Does that make sense, Billy, as a tourism person?
Absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head with so much on there, because it does, like that thirst for adventure is still there for people, and being able to see all the different options up and down the highway, like you said, whether it be, a winter activity that's as drastically different in Oklahoma for ice fishing. We don't know what that is, down to something in New Orleans.
I have no clue, and I don't want to, but I'm all I'll cover it, but I
And
ain't
that's
fishing.
right. But being
I'm
able
not
to
walking
see
on
and
it.
know that I can experience all of that along this one area it's remarkable. And being able to tell those stories that you wouldn't normally hear about things like, Colonel Busby or JJ McAlester and how it, ties in with Outlaws and True Grit and, Butterfield Trails and steampunk festivals and Dancing Rabbit and everything. I mean,
See, look, he's really promoting McAlester. Look at
that's
him.
right.
You go.
But that is the total way that, a digital guide can do for every community is those personalized connected stories that, readers will get to, experience. And whether I'm able to go there and experience it, I can read about it and imagine myself being able to be there.
Digital means you can watch videos, listen to interviews. I mean, the first thing we're going to do is put a kind of like a retrospective of these podcasts so people can listen to the highway,
Yep.
just for people to get a glimpse of it as we get this together, because there's no way you can cover everything in one guide. It's impossible. And that is a beautiful thing. Nancy has pretty much created an encyclopedia. She has been researching for over a year on the highway. Every famous person, athlete, military hero, you name it. She's gone down so many rabbit holes that she's driven me up the wall, but I love my mom, but it's exciting. So Roger, I think that's what we're talking about. Sorry. I got excited. Adeline and I are bad.
And our speakers this program really, as this has evolved, we started out with, the preservation of the highways with kind of the preservation of the past, but we're looking our other speakers really are working on promoting our future tourism, our future travelers, people. So, we have Kim Busby, who is a friend of mine, and he is from Tulsa, but he is the head of the Route 66 Alliance. He has been in tons of different nonprofits. He is called the Cultural Czar of Oklahoma.
Is he connected to the Busbys we're just talking about?
No, I don't know that. But
he has asked me to. So I met him at the Oklahoma Museums Association because he's president of that. And I was like, there was like a little wine bar and I sidled up next to him and I was like, are you related to William Colonel Busby from the turn of the century coal mining baron of McAlester? And he's like, I don't know, but I want to find out. And I just have not had the time, but I plan to by the time he's here.
Sorry.
But he's going to talk about, he's going to talk about things that communities have done to really heighten their experience on the Route 66, little things they can do. Mm-hmm. So he'll be a really a good talk. And then we have Sheila Scarborough coming from Red Rock, Texas, and she speaks to groups from all over the country. She's spoken to the National Main Street conferences. She's talked to byway conferences and all kind of tourism conferences all over the United States. And we're excited to have her, and she's going to give her perspective on the Jefferson Highway and tourism in its future. So we're going to have three really powerful speakers before we break for lunch there on the future of the highway.
I love it because it is going to, for us, as we look at it, it is about creating a corridor that is a community, a united community. So like whatever is happening in McAlester, they know about it in Natchitoches, Louisiana. And if someone's traveling from Natchitoches on north, they can say, hey, if you're going to Oklahoma, this is what's going on. That is really where we need to be.
Definitely. And what's really great too, Lisa, is like Roger said, we're going to have all these wonderful speakers at the conference day there on Friday. And then as we break for lunch, one of the things
Billy's always talking about lunch. Is this your favorite meal? I'm just kidding.
Well, when I went to the conference last year in Louisiana, I noticed a lot of people, again, what I loved about it was the people that attended the conference brought their whole families. So, there were husbands and wives and kids that some attended the conference and some just traveled with them and experienced the communities on their own. So we will have other activities and offers and things set up that if you're part of the conference or you're just attending with someone that you can go off and do on your own time. And that's what kind of Friday afternoon is going to be after lunch for you to be able to experience McAlester for a few hours on your own. Or we also are adding this year where we're going to come back and have an optional kind of roundtable discussion from a 1 till or 1:30 to 3, so for about an hour and a half, where you can learn about marketing your communities along the highway and hear from people. And we're going to have other wonderful, great presentations and speakers for people to ask questions and come to just to learn again about marketing and experiencing things and how you can promote your communities along the highway. So I love that we're adding that as another just option for people to see and come to as well to get a little more from the conference.
I think that's so important because that's what that is going to create that community corridor. Like, that's how it is, like how we look at it. And that's how we look at it from the guide, from the podcast. There's all these themes, like, ADELINE was talking about, there's rabbit holes, there's all of that, but it's connected. There's roadside attractions that are, crazy and interesting, Mufflermen and all of that. And, Paul Bunyan and all those kinds of things that you can go in music. I mean, you got Prince on the highway.
It all goes down to promoting your community identity and heritage from a tourism perspective.
Yeah,
and that's what we're kind of wanting to support is because oftentimes the audience at these conferences are just tourists who travel the roads, but oftentimes you also have people like me and Billy that are there wanting to, in a sense, have professional development, engaging with those like us in other communities. And so we're taking that time to have that be a really productive learning experience. So one of the people that we'll have on the panel is Dan McCluskey from the Convoy, who just last year traveled through all of our communities and can tell us a lot about the pros and cons and the stuff that as a traveler through the communities really enjoys and stuff like that.
That's, I think this is exactly what you just said. Who's going to be doing that? He's traveled it. He's been there. I can tell you from what we've done, like even seeing a sign, it just makes you feel like, oh, we're on the highway. This is the original thing, right? I've talked about that.
We're hoping to also invite, this is an important deal. The communities around Oklahoma, the CVBs, the Main Street communities, the chamber directors, we're hoping to get a good turnout of them to come down to this for Friday, and we're going to get special invitations to them to come. And even down into Texas, we're hoping to get some of the Texas communities, which would not be that far away, to come up. I do know that Joplin is going to be represented there, so we've got that, so we can have a really good corridor in this meeting of people, how they work together, and it's going to be really good. And then we got the big event in the evening, which is one of my favorite events, which is the awards banquet. And
please don't tell me we have to wear high heel shoes.
No.
That's okay.
I get asked this quite a bit. We are not a formal group, just dress the way you want to. And
it's an important
if you want to come in a cowboy hat, that's fine. I don't, but we'll get to look back on the last year. We get to look back on things, and we get to the great pleasure to award some things to people that deserved it. Some of them have not really, don't really need the accolades or want the accolades, but it's always great to reward people that have helped. And we're also going to give out our annual grants for communities during that time. And we'll be announcing a future conference, and we'll be having other fun things, but it's always a fun night. Friday night will be fun.
That's cool. Friday nights are fun.
It is, and I'm very excited to the conference banquet there is going to be held in Luna's Event Center, which is a new event place here in McAlester. It's a beautiful, they hold multiple different events, beautiful weddings, everything, and they're very gracious to host us this year, and hopefully we're working out the finalized itinerary for, again, I know I keep talking about food, Lisa, I'm sorry, but working on our banquet food, which hopefully is going to be turning out to be a wonderful taste of that Italian heritage here in McAlester. So that's what we're hoping to bring everybody, is that Italian flavor for the banquet that night. So,
well, I'm all happy. You can talk about food all day long, Billy. When you meet me, you'll know I love food.
Lisa, you're not going to go hungry during the conference.
I'm not worried about that.
If you do event logistics, you know your food.
Listen, this is an important thing from Nancy and I. So we have a pink sock monkey called Priscilla, who is our travel mascot, because we hate our picture being taken. And you know, Roger, you even asked for our photos. Like, really? Can I just send you Priscilla? But we do have a photo of Priscilla with pink, you know, the pink Priscilla. Roger with Priscilla. So, she has, you know, she's a junior park ranger. She's got buttons from everywhere. We need something from McAlester when we get there for Priscilla. She has to have something on her. You know, she's blinged out. She's got shoes that we lose all the time, but we find them. She's got blinged out shoes. Even her lips are blinged out. She's got earrings. She's got a hat. I mean, she is a blinged out little sock monkey. So I'm just going to put that out there, that Priscilla needs to represent McAlester in some way when we're there.
I promise you, if you send me a picture of Priscilla, I'll make sure she gets something specialized that she can add to her collection. So
she needs to wear McAlester. She wears things.
Right.
She's a fancy little girl, and she would be the one who wears high heel shoes, not us.
Well, I think at this point, Roger, this is the perfect time that, you know, when we're getting both Lisa and Nancy to the conference, we're going to have to get a picture.
Go ahead.
Well, Roger, I think this is the perfect time, as we just said, with Priscilla, to get a wonderful picture together of Priscilla and Stinky as the two mascots.
Yeah.
Stinky?
Yes, we do.
That's
our mascot
from Bonham?
We did last
from
year.
Bonham?
So maybe Priscilla's got a boyfriend.
Priscilla has a lot of boyfriends, but she's picky and she leaves them. but I don't know, Priscilla might, that could happen. You know, she keeps talking about Pokey. Whenever we go home to Tucson and we see the Gumby cactus, she keeps saying, there's Gumby, but where's Pokey? So Stinky may be her Pokey. You know what I mean?
Well, and Billy's got a few, Billy and Adeline got a few buffaloes around the town. I know that.
So. Quite a few buffaloes around our area. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, then just so long as she's taken care of, you know, that's an important thing. But this is exciting. I think this is fantastic. I want to just close with this, between you all talking about that this is really a conference that bridges the gap between the hospitality and tourism end and the traveler and the historian and the road trippers. And I think that's what's so important to talk about, because, you know, the highway is in this revitalization stage, right? It's getting signage. There are tourist centers now. You know, CVBs are coming on board and people are traveling the highway, which is why we need the guide now, right? But the fact is, you know, in travel, it is important now, and we look at this with what's going on in tourism as a whole, internationally and nationally, regionally, how we behave as travelers. Are we responsible? Are we, you know, and the highway brings in those kinds of people to your community, people who are interested in history, the arts, culture, the natural world. These are, people that are going to be diligent in your home, because tourism is about welcoming people into your home. And this conference, to me, sounds like it's about, you get to meet your hosts, and the hosts can learn from you what you want and need, and vice versa. I think it's a very important thing in tourism now that there isn't a gap between the traveler or the tourist, as you want to say, tourist, I hate that word, but the traveler, and because we are becoming more traveler oriented, we're seeking the actual real adventure. A tourist is snap, snap, look at a fountain, or something. So I think we're in a different era, and what's going on with this conference and what's going on with the highway is we get to have this communication that isn't a barrier. Like, we can talk with hoteliers and, the CVBs and have this communication because tourism is changing. It has changed in the last 10 years. And if we don't talk to each other, it's not going to be as much fun. Billy, what do you think, since you are in that industry?
No,
what do you think
I think
about
you're
that?
absolutely, again, correct on there. And that I'm with you on, I love the word more traveler more than tourist, just for the fact of this conference, again, is a perfect example of taking your time, slowing it down, and experiencing things as you come through. That's the whole point of the sociability run. That's the whole point of the going on the bus tour and having the experiences that we're setting up within McAlester is not just a snap, move along and go to something else. We want you to have a memorable experience and be able to take away things as you're here at the conference. And I think that's so important nowadays. And I think that's what people are looking for. And I would have to say again, that wonderful, that thing that we try not to talk about that happened with COVID. I think that's the one thing that came out of it on a very positive side, is that people learn to slow down a little more and start appreciating things and really taking their time as they went out, and not just one thing of a constant move to another thing as well. So you had more people coming through that looked for experiences, looked for longer stays. And I think that's exactly where your travel is going nowadays, is moving to more of that. And I think our communities being connected can really take advantage of that and build those experiences.
And communities will welcome travelers that are doing it in that fashion. Smaller communities that don't want to be Disneyland. Right?
Right.
So tourism scares smaller communities. And this is a very important thing with what's happening with the Jefferson Highway. And this is why the conference is so important, and that it goes to different communities all the time, so that the locals, like Roger's talking about the chambers of commerce and everyone coming through, the locals come to this. Please understand what's going on, so it's not like, hey, we're opening Disneyland and your town is going to be run out and crazy. That's not what it's about. It is, you said slow tourism. It's absolutely the right word. Slow travel is it. It's about, hey, we're actually interested. Like, who founded this? I wanted to know who the Busbys were. I lived in England and everybody had a Busby that worked for the Queen. So I wanted to know who had a Busby in McAlester. It was a whole different thing. But that's the thing, is it's actual connections. I think we are seeking more as travelers, and understanding, okay, what are our commonalities, and hey, how do you do something different? Like, I cook eggs this way and you do it that way. And hey, Missouri, by the way, made sliced bread for the first time in our world. And it's off of the highway, by the way. So like, hey, why did you decide to do sliced bread? And now we all do it. So it's that kind of thing that is so, cool about the highway, and the whole idea of everyone coming together over that and traveling and getting to know smaller communities too, as much as the cities. Cities are still very important, but tourism is our backbone of this country. Make no mistake. Even COVID showed us that, and it came back more resilient than you could imagine. And no matter what goes on, we're going to need to be part of that as we move forward. I believe tourism is always the way, when it is done correctly, respectfully of the towns. So I think the Jefferson Highway project is probably one of the coolest things on the planet to do. So
absolutely. And I think so many communities never realize too how much that tourism is a major driving force in economic development, and the way that it spurs so much for companies coming in or companies looking to relocate, and just even being that financial driving force for communities with sales tax revenue and the experiences of people coming through. That's the way communities get promoted.
It's how towns end up with people living in them, no matter what. Yeah, it absolutely is. Thank you all so much. Anything else you want to add, Adeline? Nope. She went out. Nope.
No, I'm good.
She's there.
Yeah, I think we've covered most of it, and we're still working on ironing out some of the details for Wednesday night and the bus tour and all of that. And Billy and I are working closely together with that, and me pulling in what history I can, where I can, to share it with everybody.
Everyone, jeffersonhighway.org, of course, is the place to go for that. Also go to travel, McAlester. Again, it's McAlester, McAlester.com.
One thing we need to add here too, real quickly. I hate to interrupt you there.
No.
How do you register to this? How do you
That's what I started to say. Yep.
We go to jeffersonhighway.org. There'll be a link for both the caravan, which is a free registration, and then go to the registration for the McAlester conference. We have some special packages. We're in the early bird rate season right now, so the rates will go up as we go closer to the conference. But we have a couples registry, which has become very popular for two people to go at a discount. We also have some a la carte options. Maybe your spouse wants to go and they just want to go to the banquet, or maybe you live in Oklahoma and you can only go to one day, like the bus tour. You can sign up. You can be part of this. And it's really easy. If you have any questions, send us an email, info@jeffersonhighway.org. We'll get right back to you to help you on registration.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. And people are there, and I want everyone to know when you register, everyone's volunteers on this. So also remember that. And that is a pure sign of a passion project that is just growing and growing, and it's beautiful. Roger, when did this resurgence of the Jefferson Highway start?
It officially started in 2010. So, we're going on 15 years. But that was just a meeting of people that said, we got all these historic highways. We'll just come together in a meeting. So we didn't have any idea who'd show up, and a lot of people did. And it's just, it's had its ebbs and flows over the years, but a lot of progress going on right now, up and down the route. And it's exciting to see. We're going to get to showcase that at the conference.
Why did it slow down as a highway? Was it also World War II?
Oh, you mean back in the real old days?
Yeah. What was it that kind of slowed?
Well, I think
both wars.
That's a whole different deal. But during when the numerical designations came out for routes, all these named highways of America lost their.
When the federal government took over control of highways.
So you have
in the 30s.
I actually started around the time of Route 66 and 26, so it started happening, more and more. They didn't completely lose their identity immediately; they were still known as that. But as time goes on, people didn't know them as the Jefferson Highway; they just know them as route numbers. And sadly, even though they were planned to be Jefferson Highway was supposed to be all one number. The best research I've got is it was supposed to be 73. It didn't get done that way. It got split up in a lot of different highway numbers in different states.
It's different states, yeah.
So, it just kind of lost its identity. So it was just kind of sitting back there. It was still there a lot of ways, just like Route 66, the roads changed some as modern highways were developed, but it's still there. And it's been like a sleeping giant. And now we're bringing it back slowly but surely.
It's exciting. What is the name of the gentleman from the Better Homes and Garden that started this with the night? Meredith, yeah.
Meredith. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought it was, and then I went into the Music Man in my head. So, yeah, but he knew it. He knew the communities needed it. He knew from traveling that as being a publishing person, you get to know the communities. You get to know what they're going through, who can pay their ad bills or not, right? It's just kind of that same thing, and understood the value of tourism. So I implore all CVBs and tourism centers and anybody in the tourism industry to really take a look at this so that you unite on the highway. Our internal travel is about to go up in this country.
Mhm.
Our country is going to go road tripping the next few years, a lot more than we thought. And let's be prepared and show up. So let's do the conference, everyone. JeffersonHighway.org again. And the conference dates, everyone, are June 4th through 7th. So check that out, June 4th through 7th, 2025. Again, the Sociability Caravan, I got that word now, is June 2nd through 4th. Thank you all so much for joining us. The links to McAlester and also Jefferson Highway, as always, are in the episode notes. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you for joining us here on the Big Blend Radio Jefferson Highway Show. The show airs every fourth Thursday, and we encourage you to go to jeffersonhighway.org to learn more about the Jefferson Highway Association or even become a member. You can also dig into the history of the highway and share travel notes with friends at the Jefferson Highway Association Facebook group. Follow our shows at bigblendradio.com. Happy travels!